Any guesses? Any guesses on why the different behavior from two different children? Just type in your answers. I'll wait as the plane clears. Can you guys hear me? Or is the plane too loud? Can I have a yes or no so I know whether I should continue or pause every time the plane comes? Hey, no answer so far. Okay, let me just share with you. The reason is because we have trained them. So the first time I actually got this, I was like, seriously? The good part I can accept. Yes, I can accept that all the good stuff of the kids, my training naturally. But seriously, the bad stuff is my training? So I invite us to look at two ways we unconsciously train them. Hi Derek, welcome. The first way, thank you Louis, thank you for giving me feedback about you hearing. Hi Tian Liang, welcome. Thank you, especially those who are in Singapore, for choosing to watch this. And I promise you, you will have go nuggets. So give me a thumbs up if you've eaten, and I want this to be interactive. So I will go ahead instead of waiting for the room to be flooded. Hi! So yeah, every time you hear a truth that resonates for you, just give me a thumbs up or a hug if it's something that is more powerful truth for you. Okay? So today's topic is how do we train T.R.A.I.N. And I purposely use this as acronyms. So please grab pen and paper so it will be something that you will be able to apply. Because more than just head knowledge that doesn't change anything is real application that will immediately transform your life. Okay? So I was asking, ever notice why two children, one is so wonderfully behaved, so independent, so confident, and the other one is completely different? The reason is because we as parents train them. While it's easy for us to accept that the good parts come from us, can we also embrace that the actions that we don't quite like also is a result of our training? And two ways we unconsciously train them. One is through our actions. So for example, you know, if we talk about screen time addiction, I am a busy mother, I've got work to do. I mean, modern mothers today, we have to really hand it to them. In the past, mothers only had to look after the household, like cooking and cleaning, which is already a lot. But in modern day today, the mothers have to juggle work. They have to work outside, dual income, if not come back to prepare the food, to clean up the house. And on top of that, we mothers, even if you're a stay-home mom, we are responsible somehow for the children's education. In the past, mothers didn't have that job description. So as with all this busyness, right, especially for fathers, I'm sure you can imagine, when we go home, we just want our own space to relax, to just unwind, to drink a glass of wine or a beer, or to chat with our friends, or sometimes even to do our work. So when we hand them the iPad or the TV, we unconsciously train them to occupy their free time with that. So my question is, what if we gave them toys or jigsaw puzzles or art and craft, or gave them our kitchen? Hi Ben, welcome to listen. Just wave hi and, you know, just have it interactive. Books, you know, as we give them the other alternative of filling up their time, it's no wonder our actions causes them to be trained differently. The second way we do it is, I'm bending a little, right, because there was this technical issue, okay? The second way we train our children is through our words. So can you imagine at dinner time, I could easily tell my daughter, hey, I noticed you didn't tidy up your room again. Or I could acknowledge the positive, like, hey, I saw you reading to your brother just now, and I'm so proud of you for spending time with him even though you don't have to. Which one empowers? So unconsciously, in Asia at least I know, we have been trained with our speech to only acknowledge the negative. We only speak up when there's something that we're not so happy about, which is a little sad. And what that actually reinforces, for those who understand behavioral psychology, a reinforcer is something that encourages a behavior. So when we focus on like, why you didn't do this? Or why your results are not so good? Why, why are you sleeping so late? Why are you fighting with your sibling? Unconsciously, we are encouraging the very behaviors that we don't want to be encouraged. On the other hand, if we choose to praise, example, when they do quiet play, I'm so proud of you for giving mommy like the whole 1 hour to do my work as you played with your toys quietly, and now let's spend time together. For example, do you not think that just those phrase alone will encourage even more quiet play in the future? Because we are actually acknowledging and telling them exactly what we want. So question, I want to hear your answer now. Do our words focus on what they have achieved, the good, or what we are disappointed in them? So thumbs up or just type in. I would love to read your answers. So the T, I'm still waiting for your answers. So the T stands for train. When we talk about train, always remember, my words, are they affirming? My actions, do I set them up for what I want them to do? And if not, it's perfect. Now that we know, we actually train our children, looking at the results, we are able to retrain them. And this is, so I want to ask you now, what are some actions and words that we can just slow down and get present to? Hi, Lannister. Hey, hi, Lannister. I didn't know you were called Lannister. Thank you for making time even though you're fasting. And I know you're going to be here for a short while, so it's going to be powerful for you. Okay? The second alphabet, R, T.R.A.I.N. How do we train, not just our children, but ourselves even, is responsibility. So imagine you come home. There's silence. The house is spick and span. There is not a toy on the floor. Everything is neat and tidy. Can you imagine? And then your daughter comes up to greet you. Hi, mommy or daddy, I miss you. And then hugs you. And if you have a second child, the child says, do you want tea? And as you sit down, your third child comes to massage your back. Would it even be real for you? Or would you begin to think, I wonder what the kids have been up to? This is actually a living daily experience of some parents in the Mayan tribe. When I first read about their daily experience, I was impressed, and yet I understood the principle. For them, household activities or chores, Lenny, I think there's no coincidence that you're listening to this part, is a natural way that they bring the children up. So while as a kid is at home, right, they have privileges, they have entitlements, right? Their food is provided for, shelter, clothes, they are well provided for. And shouldn't that come together with responsibilities, okay? Why I say that is, the best parenting is where we prepare them with responsibilities, age appropriate of course, so that we equip them out for work. I remember when I had my first daughter and we were out shopping for her birthday present, we had a choice. Do you want the princess set or do you want this cooking set? I looked at my husband and guess what my choice was? He was like, oh, this cooking, this ironing, this sweeping the floor is so fun. I said, seriously, you want my daughter to be a helper next time? No, I want her to be a princess. So why I'm candidly sharing this is even I, unconsciously, at the back of our head, we love our children. We want them to succeed. We want to give them the best. And yet, giving them the best means preparing them for responsibilities in life. Because as we give them entitlements and privileges without the counterbalance, because every right comes together with a responsibility, we actually do them a disservice. So I feel the best place to start would be at home, where instead of kids expecting the parents to do everything for them, is where we can begin to involve them. So here, I tell the children, this is not just my house, this is not just my family, it's yours too. and your contribution would really make a difference. And even my son, as young as 1+, they imitate. Okay, so something that I found out, right, as I began to introduce that into the house, is children love to hang around us. They love to help us. We are the ones that decide, like me, that I don't want them to do this, or that they're too slow, it's not up to my standard. And when we don't give them the space to try all this out, what happens is, after a while, they just don't do it anymore because we trained them, we took away the responsibility. So I invite us to look at how being a responsible parent, counterintuitively, is creating opportunities for them to know that their contributions at home makes a huge difference. And that also means making it real. So so lowering your expectation would be one. The first time I taught the kids how to wash their dishes, they spill so much water, they use so much soap. I had to hold back how I prefer them to do it and just give them space. In less than 3 days, as they enjoy it, they got better, they saved more water, and now they are so good with it. Each of them has a different style, and each of them knows that it's my job to make sure this family runs, not just mommy or daddy's. And that is the beginning of an independent child, someone who knows that my contributions make a difference. So for example, the first time I get them to even clean the floor with a piece of cloth, when it's not clean, I don't go up behind them and clean it up again. I just let it be, so that they know that mommy is not going to clean up after me. My job is going to be as is. And when I allow them to begin to slowly up their standards, the sense of control that they feel, the sense of true contribution that they make, causes them to not be self-centered. Hi Ma, thank you for joining and watching. I'm talking about how to train our children to be independent. So give me a like and a hug and a heart shape if what I say resonates for you. Or if you have any questions, just feel free to type them in. Okay, so I want to conclude. I mean, I type, this whole thing here. So entitlements come with responsibility, and exposing our kids to the responsibility, even if they are not at our standard, will be the best parental responsibility that we can do as we set them up for success in their life. So so very often, right, the entitled child syndrome comes where we in our love, okay, this is never conscious, in our love to protect and to provide for them. Okay, so let me backtrack a little. All infants are completely dependent on us, whether for milk, for shelter, for everything. But as they grow, sometimes we forget that it's time to give them more responsibilities, because their physical growth mirrors their internal growth. Their intellect begins to grow, their emotions begin to grow. And even though we cannot see the inner mental development cognitively and the emotions, they are growing. So when they challenge us at terrible tools, it's not because they have suddenly become the devil, but because that is actually a mirroring of what is really happening in their physical body. So I invite us to embrace that and give them responsibilities. And even if they don't do well, close one eye, because as we allow our kids to do more and more, like people ask me, how do you handle with 5 children? I say, you know what? I've got 5 helpers at home. In the big things, in the small things, even when we go grocery shopping, everyone carries a plastic bag out of the car, depending on the weight. So the lighter ones, even the boy, it's so cute. The first few times he carried the plastic bag, because it's too big for him, he will sling it over like a bag. And I want everyone to know that you make a difference. This family is there for you, and you make a difference. Hi Yi Hui. Enjoy and just catch on. We're talking about how we train our children to be independent. Hey, can I have some likes and some comments about what I'm sharing? If it resonates for you, if you think that makes so much sense, Junior, give me a thumbs up, a heart. T.R.A.I.N. Okay, thank you. And hi Mas, welcome. And okay, so we've completed T, which is train. We need to first take responsibility that we have trained our children through our words and our action. R, I'm just going to do a very quick recap for those who have joined us later. R stands for responsibility. The greatest responsibility a parent can do is to give our children opportunities for them to be a contribution. I want my children to look outwards and contribute to my society in time to come. And where best to start that than at home? And the third alphabet will be A. A stands for actions. So now that we are conscious that, okay, maybe some of my actions were not in their best interest, I have two methods, so I want you to write down how we can actually consciously retrain those bad behaviors, okay? The main aim is to introduce, how I normally start is I would tell them straight, like, so the first one is what I call the promotion technique. And it has just 3 steps, okay? I'm reading because I literally prepared it on a laptop and I'm just so excited to share it with you guys. I prefer the promotion technique because the child owns this. Okay, so for example, the first thing, okay, normally when we talk to someone and we have a genuine request to make, we start at neutral, am I right? But when we make a request, we tend to sometimes come across as too aggressive, and it actually goes down into the negative. So why not, when I started, I honor them, meaning I top up their account by saying honest things about them. Like, write down these words, okay? For example, you know, Belle, something I really like about you, I admire about you, I appreciate about you, I love about you, I respect about you. And this works not just for children, but even between spouses or even with your colleagues. You know, where before you make a request, you tell them straight what you feel. For example, when I spoke to my eldest daughter, a teenager, about her screen time because her sisters were complaining that she was always on her phone, okay? And she's the only one with her handphone. I went to her and I said, Ling, I like that you're mature, you understand, and you've been such a big contribution to this family. And then I'm just straight and honest, okay? Your sisters have been complaining that you don't spend time with them. And in saying that, I'm just stating what is. And then the second one is I make a genuine request. So the first one is I honor them, so I bring them up, and then I make my genuine request. Can we reach an agreement on your screen time? And I wait. I literally don't dictate, I let her own it. I let her get present that her sisters miss spending time with her. And I let her choose what's important to her. Because if it comes from me, if it comes top down, she will hide the phone. She will do what I want when I'm there, and I don't want that. I want something to come from within her. Because when she's internally motivated is where the action will stay. And as she realizes, we talk it through. So I'm going to cut short the longer conversation. And at the end, the third point is I'm going to hold them to this agreement that they come up with. So what she reached was she got that she missed her sisters and she wants to spend time with them as well. And she created her own structure. She said, Mom, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to spend half an hour with each of my siblings, one-on-one time. And Thursday is my free time, so I get to do whatever I want. And I say, you know what? Go ahead. And I ask, but if you don't keep your agreement and your siblings complain to me that you are ignoring or neglecting them again, what will happen? And she offered. She said, okay, then I don't use my phone for the next day. And because she came up with her own consequence, it's easier for me to say, hey, darling, you're not doing this again. What do you have to say about it? And as I give it back to her, it's an empowerment for her to say, we are in this together. I'm not here to scold you. I'm not here to belittle you. I'm here as your cheerleader for your success. So the first method is what I call the promotion method. You know, where you promote them, bring them up to really acknowledge them, because like what I covered earlier, sometimes Asians, we can be so stingy with our praises, yeah? The second method is what I call the interruption method. The interruption method is something that is less preferred, but this is necessary when there's already an addiction. When the addiction is very strong. So you don't go to someone who's a heavy smoker or drug addict and talk nicely to them, because they can't help it. The body system, physiologically, they are so connected that we need literally an interruption. So for the interruption method, there will be 4 C's. C for cats, okay? And this is where you own it. So when I go to my child, what I tell my child, the first is I communicate. The first thing that I do is I again use the responsibility and accountability within the house, the privileges and responsibility in the house. Meaning I'll come to them and say, instead of blaming them and pointing the finger, I take the responsibility. So I will interrupt by saying, it's mommy's fault. I allow you so much screen time in the past because it was easier for me. You know, just be authentic, because the realer you are, the more your children will, or not just your children, any human being will know and sense that genuineness. And then I'll just say, you know, I didn't know how to keep you occupied. Okay, but now that I realize it does not serve you, and this is where I will share, because every entitlement has responsibility, and the best I can do for you is to train you in being responsible for the things in your life more than just studies, you know. And in this case, it's being responsible for your screen time. So the first C is I will communicate, starting with me, and I will say, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Okay, what is going to happen the next time, you know? I will involve them. I will say, now things are going to be different because I see you as someone who can do so much more. From now on, you need to complete your work and tidy your room so you can state whatever you want. Okay, for me, it's easy. I've stated a few things. So the girls, hi, hi Ji-Tian. Thank you for joining me on this live. Enjoy and just catch on. So I ask them to do put in the things, because when I talk about responsibility, I say, these are things I need you to own. I don't want to be chasing you about tidying your room. I don't want to be chasing you about doing your work. You can add to the list, but I would suggest that you start with 1 or 2 items first. So for me, there are 4 things that the girls know they need to do. So every morning, they are doing their work. They read 2 Chinese chapters to improve their Mandarin, because that's not our strength. They tidy the room. They've done their baking. They've eaten. They've done their poem. And then in the afternoon, they will ask me, Mom, we've done everything. Can we now do our screen time? Once we've already communicated that, then the second C that as parents we could do is to be their cheerleader. Don't remind them where they fall short. You know, like the cheerleader doesn't boo, right? This is your team, right? So you don't boo your own team, you cheer them on. You be that person who believes in them even when they fall, even when they get it wrong, even when they fall short. You cheer them on. And then you be consistent. So for example, if you say you don't do A, B, C, no screen time, keep to your word. Don't change your mind just because it's convenient for them to be on the screen again. Keep to your word. They may throw their tantrum, they may get upset with you. For me, I literally, when I say no phone, hi James, welcome. I literally take the phone away and I hide it. Not hide it, I tell them where it is and I close it. Because if you haven't shown me responsibility or maturity to handle this entitlement or this privilege, then when you have gone up in your responsibility, then these privileges will be returned back to you. Okay? And then when they throw a tantrum, as parents, the last C is in a calm voice. Don't, you know, sometimes, for me, okay? As parents, sometimes we have so many things to do. Emotionally, we are tired, and as they throw a tantrum, we either tend to give in, okay, just take the phone, or we tend to get angry with them, stop that whining now, and then we shout at them, which, you know, is not our intention. So these are the 4 C's for the interruption technique. So now, for those of you who heard throughout, I want to hear, would you prefer the promotion technique, where you get them to own it, or the interruption technique, where you own it, you own the success of breaking a habit, a bad result for them? If you can just type it in, it gives me a sense of, you know, where you people are. Because here I am for you. And then let me continue to look at my notes, yeah? Hello, can I see some hugs, likes, or some comments? Or is my screen not moving? Okay, I'll move on to the next A. So T stands for train. R, responsibility, we take it back. A stands for actions. Remember I said we actually unconsciously train our children. Do you know that our children also unconsciously train us? Huh? What do you mean by that? there are some actions and words that when they do, we get upset. Am I right? So notice, you know, for those parents who's, hi Ivan, welcome. Notice for those parents, right, who say, you know why I say the first time you don't listen. When I scream at the 10th time, then you listen. Why? You know why? Because we have trained our children to only listen to us when we are at our hottest. So, pardon me for action. Okay, for action is A. So T is for train, R is for responsibility, and the greatest responsibility we can do as parents is to give our children opportunities to grow in responsibility, which includes household activities or household contributions. I don't call them household chores because the word chore itself is so draggy, right? So I want my children to be contributors in life, and it starts best at home. So now we are at A, action. What kind of actions? And when I talk about action, what I mean is that we unconsciously train our children to make us shout, okay? So example, the first time, tidy your room. You know, I'm still in a good mood. You know what the kid actually hears? I think mom said something, but I don't really know what she said. It's okay, let's continue playing. So they keep playing. Second time, girls, I told you all to tidy your room. And they vaguely hear it, but by the time it reaches their ears, it will be like, I think we can push her limits. Let's see how important this is to her. So they completely ignore us. And by the 10th time, I told you to clean your room. And now they hear, oh shit, mom is really angry. If we don't clear our room, we're either going to get punishment or we're going to get scolding. And then they move. What if, my solution, we bring the 10th time, or E to action, no problem. What if we bring the 10th time up? Meaning, instead of reacting to our children's training, we bring the 10th time up to the first time where we completely stop reacting. So they are like, wow, mom didn't react. So the first time, I go to them, I tell them straight the earlier communication. You know, moving forward, and the action I do is, parents, we tend to give them the choice. One choice we like, one choice we don't want. You better clean your room, otherwise no TV later, example. Or you better eat, otherwise otherwise you won't get that treat, for example. But instead of doing that, why not give them two choices that are both positive? Both that you like the outcome. Because the first one, when you give them one yes and one no, if they choose the no, how? Very often we are stuck, right? And the kids know that they know that actually that's not a real option. But if we give them two choices, and this is the trick. The first choice, so for example, both choices I like, right? So when I ask my kids to eat carrot, they don't like carrot. So one of them I will ask, instead of, do you want carrot? I will ask, do you want 6 or 10 pieces of carrot? And I'm fine with either of their answers, because if they choose 6, it's better than none. So that is for younger kids. You can both also you want. But for older kids who begin to wise up, I actually give them two choices again, but one they can own, one I own. So for example, I will say, you can choose to tidy up your room or hire me to tidy up for you. And you're like, seriously, Junior? You tidy up for them? Yes. And then whatever choice you say, you honor it. So after I tell them how expensive it is to pay me, my going rates are $50 an hour, they are like, how are they going to pay me? So you get it, okay? They can either choose it their way. You can choose to come with me now on your feet, or come with me on my feet. Either way, you are coming with me. So the two options we give them, one of them is by default, something that we can control and something that is positive, okay? So let me look at my notes again. So I want us now to take some time. You know, it's easy to just accumulate head knowledge, but frankly, I'm more interested in your personal transformation and having like a happier family. So I want to ask you, what are some things that now you know cause you to react? You know, is it, you know, just think through very quickly. You don't have to share it. You know, it's just for you. Is it when, for example, every time during meal times, or every time at about 3 o'clock, or every morning, or every time just before bedtime? Because if you see it coming, you can break the pattern. You don't have to continue that anymore. You don't have to allow them to trigger you and pull the worst out of you. You can respond differently. So as you write down the particular incident, thank you so much. As you write down the particular incident, I want you to also come up with a new action or a new word that you can do this time. So for example, you know predictably after they play for about 15 minutes, if you have siblings, they tend to fight. So this time, interrupt it. You know, go into the room on the 13th minute and just ask them if they want to come out for a while, you know, and just change it. And as you interrupt it, beautiful behaviors begin to bloom at home, okay? And finally, for the, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. And no, the last two will be I stands for intrinsic motivation. So this is where I want to ask you, we'll probably have mentioned thank them when you're like, yeah. What do you prefer? Which do you think is better? Intrinsic or extrinsic? So internal motivation is better. Give me a thumbs up if you think that. Or external motivation is better. Internal, external. Which one do you think is better? So as I wait for your replies, let me just share. Internal or inner motivation is where I do something for the sheer joy of it, where I enjoy it for me. So notice how children play and they do all the things that they like. You no need to tell them to do. They thoroughly enjoy it. Some people do drawing, some people do painting because they enjoy it. Just doing the task alone is an intrinsic motivation that comes from within. Versus an external motivation, which is something that is either a reward or a punishment. Okay, so obviously you would get by now, if something is an external motivation, you may cause me to do the action, but I will only do it if there is the reward or there's the punishment. That is why so many parents, sorry, I just got distracted with something. That is why so many parents realize that it's so tiring. If I don't sit down next to them, they don't study. I need to be with them, then they study. Because we haven't let them reach their inner motivation. Because when they are in touch with their inner motivation, we don't need to be around at all. How do we get them in touch with their inner motivation? And the other I word, their interest. When was the last time we actually found out what their true interest was and dig deeper, like why? Not just find out, yeah, I know my kid likes to play computer games. But do you actually play with your kid? Do you actually, like I was speaking to this father and it was so wonderful when he said, you know, my son's strategy and the way he thinks, it's so good in the game. I don't understand why he can't apply that in school, you know. And as we just sit down to spend time with them, connecting with them, that is where we begin to get present to, and this is a question I keep asking my children, and I lift the pressure off. So I tell my daughter, so I ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I remember my elders telling me, I don't know, maybe an author. And as of the first time I asked her, I just looked at her and I said, okay. And if you want to be, and I found out why. She was very inspired by J.K. Rowling's, and she loves Harry Potter. So I told her, do you know that to be an author, your English must be quite good, right? Or, you know, your language has to be good. And she looked at me and I said, how else will you be able to communicate your thoughts and your ideas within your head? And almost within 2 months, her English, it used to be okay, you know, probably 60. She came back and said, hey, my teacher showed my compo around to the whole class. She actually got the best for a compo, and it wasn't just a flash in the pan. It wasn't a one-off thing. Subsequently, it is something that she keeps coming back with. You know, she's the top in the whole standard for her composition. And it's not because I pressure her at all. No, I only told her, you could go and check the dictionary if you want. And now during this COVID, at 13 years old, she's actually writing her own book. So I don't know the quality, but instead, while her sisters sometimes watch TV, when someone is fueled by their inner passion of what they want to do, they are on fire and she enjoys. She's found companion in another friend who also wants to write her book. Okay, so that's one. So what is it? What do they want to be? And I lift the pressure off by telling them, even if you say you want to be, example, an actress today, and it could be something else tomorrow, that's completely fine. You know, so what is it that we want them what is their interest, okay? And the last one would be nurture, okay? The last N, T.R.A.I.N, would be nurture. Where it's for us to remember that as parents, we form the environment around them. You know, we can choose to give them a hard, cracked soil. Can you imagine if the child is the plant and we are the environment? It could be very hard and dry and clayey, where we tell them where they should go and what they should do, and particularly our way. Or it could be just be soil, you know, that allows very fertile soil that truly allows the words to get in. So for example, when one of my daughters said she wanted to be an actor, right? I actually gave her opportunity to, why not then shoot your own videos? And that's what they've been doing this school holidays. So when she said actor, I tried to correct her. I said, you mean actress? And she said, no, actor. And I just let it be, you know. So don't be too rigid to control and to get them to do the right things, but just embrace them for who they are. And the second would be fertilizer, okay? As we create the environment, do we have fertilizer? Meaning, do we give encouraging words, you know? Sometimes, no fertilizer, which means some parents just ignore the children. I'm so busy, I don't have time for the kids, I ignore them. Which is still okay, not as good as having fertilizer, but it's better than, or do we put weeds? You know, when I say we introduce weeds, it's where we give them discouraging words. It's where we tell them they don't measure up. Because as we continue to do all this, is where we break their spirit. Okay, so T.R.A.I.N. I trust that you enjoy this very short session, but more importantly, that you will actually put it into practice. So I would love to hear if you have any more questions or any specific topics you want me to cover next week. So I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live weekly at 8 p.m. every week. And I would love it if you found this useful, that you can click on my page and share it with your friends. Hi, John. Share it with your friends. Invite them to like the page so that they can follow the videos that I'll be posting, the tips that I'll be posting, my thoughts. And for those who don't, I clean forgot about this. This is my book. What is I? Okay, I is interest. Wait, let me go back. T.R.A.I. Oh, I is intrinsic motivation. You know, let them get in touch with their intrinsic motivation. And actually just getting in touch with intrinsic motivation, I gave you two methods. Number one, ask them what their be involved in their interests and encourage them. The second one, hi Jessica, thank you for joining. The second one is ask them what they want to be. Ask them what they want to be. Because if we tell the truth, a lot of us adults don't even know what we want to be. We later on discover it. So as children, let's just guide them, you know. And this is my book, The Naked Parent. I'm so excited about it. A lot of the strategies, some of the strategies, I've shared with you, can be found in depth in the book, where I talk about the activities and I do quizzes for you to understand yourself better. Because as you understand yourself better, will you be able to connect better with your children? So I thank you so much for taking time. And hi Jessica, I've reached the end, and thank you so much for joining. Okay, but just for those who join later, let me just share again how we train our children to be independent. T stands for train, okay? Where we actually are the ones who train them for the good and the not so good. So as we realize that, it gives us back the power to take responsibility and give our children the space to do, whether it's household contributions or activities, to give them opportunities where they can truly and meaningfully contribute to the family. So that sense of self-entitled, that everything should be done for me, is not there at all. But instead, we have outward-looking children who are confident, who are generous, who are independent in their thought processes, and not just pure followers, okay? And then A is for action, you know, so thank you so much, Jessica. The kind of actions that we can do would be, and I gave us two specific methods. One would be promotion method, and one is the interruption method. The promotion method is where the children own it, where the 3 steps would be, first we honor them, and then we honor them, meaning we bring them up, and then we, sorry, my mind is, as I look at all these messages, I'm a little distracted. And then we make the request. You know, we literally give them the choice. And the third one is we ask them to come up with their own consequence. The interruption method, which comes with 4 C's, is where there is already a very strong addiction that has formed. So we have to break it. We have to literally break the pattern. And this time we own it. Hi, Wai-An, it's great that you're joining me. I've reached the end, but I'm just doing a summary. So the interruption method is where we start with, the first is the communication. And when we own it, we not blame, but we take the responsibility by saying, you know what, it's me. Okay, mommy didn't parent you the best I could, and now that I know that responsibility is part of your personal development and your cognitive independent thinking, I want to begin to give you more privileges at home as you begin to show me more responsibilities. Okay, so the first one is to communicate, and then after we communicate, sorry, I'm going back to my laptop again for my notes. We cheerlead for them. Okay, so always be their cheerleader. Point out, identify where you did well, well done. You know, as they begin to go, cheer them all along the way. And then the next C will be very consistent, okay? With what you have communicated, it's a different game plan. They won't like it, they are not used to it, but stick to it. And last one, in your calm voice, just implement it, okay? And then A will stand for actions, where instead of being trained by them and reacting to them, we stop our old actions. Like even right now, think, when are the times that you lose your temper? There's always a pattern, okay? And as you recognize when you lose your temper, I want you to begin to just write down a new action or a new word you can use. And as you change, you realize that the first time you speak to the kids, and I gave you the method for choice, it's so different. They listen when you are speaking nicely, okay? And then I is intrinsic motivation, 2 ways to get them present to what is really their purpose, because I believe that all of us are on this earth with a very unique purpose, and until and unless we discover that purpose, really life is more than just about watching aimless shows, okay? And the final one would be to nurture them. Are we the kind of parent that adds fertilizer with positive words? Put weeds? I know we unconsciously do that. I used to, okay? By discouraging words or just lashing out at them? Or do we just ignore them lah, bo pian or very tired? So no matter, I thank each and every one of you. If it was good, can I just have a smile? And if you can just type in what topics you want me to cover, I will be posting this so you can catch on what the T.R.A.I.N are. And if you can invite your friends to like this page, so that I would, and it's going to be something that I'm going to do weekly. So please tell me what topics you want. If not, next week, I intend to cover graceful transitions back into school, because the week after, they are all going back to school. And I'm sure, you know, all the late sleeping and all the, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. So please key it in so that I will be able to be relevant to you, because I'm here for your success. So I thank you for taking time to listen to this. Until next Thursday at 8 p.m., I'll see you, and you have a great and blessed weekend. Invite your friends to like this page. And thank you. Or if you have any questions, please type it in. Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you. And it would be great to also know which part you enjoyed the most. Was it the training part? Was it the responsibility part? Was it the action? Was it the intrinsic motivation? Or was it the nurturing part? You know, which part do you enjoy the most? That would really be good feedback. Other than that, thank you so much. I love you. Something that I'm more and more connected with is, I mean, this is just for whoever wants to stay on, but officially we are over, okay? I was in isolation, so I will just parent my kids the way I know, without connecting with friends. But as I get connected, you know, with friends, some friends, I actually got how much I love parents. You know, I'm no different from any of you. I'm just someone who, because I have 5 children, right? So desperately need to quickly find solutions, and I went on many, many hunts. And I think I've found what works. And I would love you to thoroughly enjoy your parenting experience. you know, like take it to the next stage. I'm sure you already enjoy it, you know, but as we form a community, this is me just wanting to come back to be a part of a community. So in any way I can serve you, I would love to hear your questions.